Nebraska back off their bye week. We caught up with head coach Matt Rhule here at his weekly press conference on Monday. Hi, Sean Callahan with HuskerOnline.com. And first and foremost, Rhule delivered some pretty big news on the injury front.
Just an injury update, and you might have to help me with this. Luke Reimer will be back with us this week. So excited to have Luke back. Other than that, I think we're a pretty healthy team. Deshaun Singleton's will still be out. But we're excited to have Luke back. Obviously, he'll be a big boom for our defense. So.
And Rhule also announced here on Monday that Heinrich Haarberg would be his starting quarterback here moving forward into Saturday's game.
I think we're working hard to get Jeff to be the best that he can be. We're working hard to get Heinrich and Chuba to be the best that they can be. We'll play with Heinrich, for now. Jeff is ready to go on a moment's notice. Sometimes we mix him in with the ones a lot in practice. I would have no problem ever having a package to play two. I'm not saying we would do that, but I have no problem with the way he works. But to me, Heinrich's played well. Heinrich's done some good things, and so he'll be the starter.
And as Rhule looks at the opportunity, so many people want to start to look ahead about the next 6 weeks for Nebraska, what it means. Rhule is only worried about this week.
Yeah, I'm not worried about the big picture. I think that's the problem with Nebraska football. I think that's why we've gone 1-5 down the stretch most years, looking at things outside of just going 1-0 this week, evaluating the offensive, defensive coaches, evaluating the offense versus all this stuff outside the program. I'm going to do my best to keep it from infiltrating the program. We've got to get a way to get 1-0 this week. We've got to try to improve this week. It's going to be a real challenge. So, to me, I had a chance to watch the teams we play. I was really happy to see Illinois play well. Because that obviously anytime we play someone, we beat them, and then we see them play well, it makes us feel good about who they are. I saw Northern Illinois go to get a huge win over a 5-1 Ohio U team. So, I feel good about where our team is, but our team has got to eliminate the looking past just what's important this week. When we got embarrassed at Michigan, we didn't think about anything else other than Friday night, and we were locked in. And we're going to find out about myself as the head coach and our coaches and our players and our staff. Can we have that same focus this week? We better.
And just like Nebraska, Northwestern has been on their bye week, and the Wildcats have Rhule's full attention.
Because think about Coach Braun, the job that he's done. He comes from North Dakota State, takes this job at Northwestern. He's the DC. Coach Fitzgerald, great friend of mine, a man I respect, gets let go. He steps in as the interim head coach. He's on a 1-year deal, and he's got this team battling, man. They're fighting for their lives. What are we doing? What are we going to be like? We'll find out on Saturday. So that's the message I put out there usually on Mondays when I feel this, because I want our players to have that mentality, but they will. I want our staff, and I hope our fans come to this game as locked in and as thinking this game is as important as anything else, because I respect the team we're playing, and I respect the coaching staff. To be in the situation they're in, to be down 21 points and to fight back, man, that says a lot about the character. We better have the same character. So.
A lot of discussion about the Big Ten West overall and just how down this division is. Rhule doesn't want to get into any of that talk.
I have none. Yeah, this is my first time going through it, and then Big Ten West will be gone next year anyway. So I was a young coach, because I don't want you guys to think I'm always just like coach speak. I was a young coach, head coach at Temple, and I sat down at a table at the retreat with all the American Conference coaches were there. George O'Leary, who I really looked up to, was there, and UCF was rolling at the time, and he was going to become the AD. And I was like, yeah, coach, we play. I forget what year it was. I was like, man, we play Penn State, but then we got Cincinnati. And he was like, Matty. And he's like, just play them one at a time. And you hear that? But the teams I thought were going to be really good that year actually were pretty down. And the teams I thought were going to be down that year were really pretty good. And so I think we face good teams each week. I think it's a battle each week, I just think there's always the narrative out there. Like, people watch the Iowa-Wisconsin game and say it's a bad football game or it's an ugly football game. I think it's a beautiful defensive football game. And I see a lot of teams that scored a lot of points early in the season in games this week, and not quite scores quite as many points as the year gets on and people catch up and it gets a little colder. So, Iowa's on its way to having another great year. And people are making a big deal about how many points they score. They're scoring one more than their opponent most games. So I think I don't know anything about the Big Ten West other than I'm facing each one each year, and after the year I'll probably have a better feel for kind of who everyone is, and then we'll shuffle it up and we'll be going to the West Coast, and I'll do my best to figure that out.
The wide receiver position for Nebraska continues to be a patchwork in progress with the injuries Nebraska's gone through. Look for Malachi Coleman and the other freshmen to have bigger roles this week.
Yeah, Malachi's a starter. He'll start. The great thing about Malachi is he didn't have much time to think about it. Unfortunately, Marcus went down and Malachi had to run out there and play, and so he played well. I mean, he's got things that he does differently that we have to adjust. The things that he loves to do, like we have to factor some of that in. Jalen Lloyd's going to play a ton. Jaden Doss is still kind of in the middle. When you're a freshman receiver and you don't practice for whatever it was, 5, 6, 7 weeks, that's difficult. The other guys practice, but Jalen's ready to go. Malachi's ready to go. And what I saw from them last week, Sean, was I saw them they showed up last week. They knew okay, it's time to play. Saw Quentin Ives, he showed up. He said, hey, it's time to play. And Jaden showed up too. I'm not sure exactly where Jaden will fall on this whole thing.
Rhule also praised Alex Bullock and just what he's been able to give this team as a former walk-on.
The great thing about the last game is, I think Alex Bullock has figured out that he's a really good player. 4th and 3, he makes an unbelievable catch. He makes a great catch on the slant. He's got long speed. And then Ty Hahn made a big play for us. So I think Heinrich's developing a real rapport with those guys as well.
Running the football is going to be a big part of what Nebraska has to do, and if it happens, it's going to be because of the offensive line, and Rhule continues to stand up for this group.
I think our offensive line has gotten better and better and better. I think they are one of the groups that I'm going to speak for them. I think they're one of the groups that's really been scarred they're scarred still by the things that are said about them out there, and they hear it. They probably were hearing it too much and not having a lot of fun playing. And I think that they, in the last 2 weeks, have really kind of gotten past that a little bit. I think they, I just don't. When you run the ball for 200 yards a game, no matter how you get it, you don't do that if guys aren't playing well, if tight ends aren't blocking, if guys aren't running. I think the biggest thing that I've seen improvement in is our pass protection. We're getting better and better and better in pass pro. We're not here to throw the ball 45 times a game. So, but we're getting better in those regards. But I like our offensive line. I like, the amount of things that they see, the amount of things that people throw at us because we don't throw it a ton. The amount they blitz us. They are unsung heroes to me.
And finally, it was a busy recruiting weekend for Rhule. He checked in on offensive line target Grant Bricks in Logan, Iowa. Was also in Omaha Thursday night to watch tight end commit Eric Inkerson. And then he made his way out to Ainsworth to see tight end recruit Carter Nelson. And I think the takeaway is everywhere Rhule goes in this state, he realizes just how important Nebraska football is in all corners.
Oh, people are unbelievable to us. People are, everywhere I go, people seem to be grateful for that, we're working hard to, get the program back on track, right, and get us moving in the right direction. So you feel that everywhere. We went to a game in Omaha, went up to Western Iowa, then I went out to Ainsworth, and I went out to Ainsworth with a windbreaker. It was 34 degrees. So I went to the Western store there, and the gentleman owns a store. Obviously, Husker fan, comes to the games every week, helped me get fitted for a nice parka and hat, and went to the game. And I saw Ainsworth play Boyd County, and people are everywhere. And I took, little kids are coming up, they're fired up, So I'm glad we won the Illinois game before I went out on the road because a lot of people were pretty fired up about that game. But even if we hadn't, it always goes back to me talking about going to Tacoma, going to Ainsworth, going to the places I've been, how much people care and how much we want to do a good job for them. But yeah, there was a really, really unbelievably positive vibe out there.
Reporting here with the Nebraska football team in Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.